Okay, let's take a look at our multiple choice sample. This would be pretty close to what you'd expect for our actual exam. Difference is the problems will probably be a little bit easier, and so we always like to have the trickier ones coming in, and it's particularly true of the second practice that you have that was given to you on Friday. Okay, first one, we told that line M is parallel to line N, and that's kind of shown here with the arrows, and we want to find the measure of angle X. Here's kind of a trick to kind of look at it. So I see X is formed by this line and this line. Then I want to take my parallel, mark it. Okay, so I'm going to work with this transversal because it crossed over both those. I'm not going to use the 123, so that's how I'm eliminating it. Now if I take the 62, I can slide it over here. That's 62. So I know that X plus 62 has to add up to 180. That's how we got 118. Okay, next one. I'm going to select all polygons below which have at least one parallel side and a pair of congruent sides. Well, an isosceles triangle does not have parallel sides, so I'm going to cross off all the ones that don't have parallels. That one doesn't. A pentagon does not have parallels. Okay, now I need a pair of congruent sides. So trapezoid has a pair of parallel sides, rectangle and parallelogram. Certainly parallelogram is right in the word. Those have parallel sides. Now I need congruence. Well, I know a rectangle, this side equals this side, and a parallelogram, those sides are equal, and then these sides are equal. Trapezoid, it could be any kind of a shape as long as these two are parallel, but does not mean these two. If it was isosceles trapezoid, I'd have it, so I can cross him out. So I'm left with B and D. Okay, when you're doing this kind of a problem, start marking up your figure. I mean, that's the most important thing, because you're going to use this for problems 4 through 6. There was no problem 3 on this. There will be a problem 3 on the actual exam, though. So if I start filling in my information, FL is congruent to TR, so I'm going to mark those two sides. Angle F is congruent to angle T, so I'll mark this angle, mark this angle. Those are your givens. That's important because you're going to be doing that in the free response part where you have to fill in your givens too. And then I'm trying to prove that LY is congruent to RY. That would go in the last box right here. Well, I'm going to fill in other information that I do know. Look for vertical angles and reflexive. This angle is equal to this angle. So for step number 4, it asks, right here, what should be the reason in step number 4? Well, vertical angles are congruent. I just got to find my correct one. Well, I need to make sure that I've got Y in the middle. So if I look at this one, those are not Y. These are not Y's. So I'm looking at that one. So I have angle LYF is congruent to angle RYT. So they matched up. Then my reason, if I look at my triangle, I have angle, angle, side. Well, angle, angle, side this direction. It's not angle, side, angle. If it's angle, side, angle, I'd have to have this side here marked, or I have to have this angle. They have to be all connected. So this is an angle, angle, side. You have to watch out for that one. And then our reason for our final step when we go to get our, after we have a congruence, is we have congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So you can see it this way, congruent triangles, therefore congruent parts. You may also see it as CPCTC, which I allow you, but I'll usually will write this one for multiple choice. Okay, number 7 was one of our harder ones. Well, first thing again you want to do is mark the things that are given. AB, DE, mark those. BC is congruent to EF. Mark those. So I need one more piece of information to be able to show the congruence. Well, one option is to get AC and DF. That will give me side, side, side. So that's what A was. AC and BC This is on the same triangle. This tells me this triangle is isosceles, so I don't know anything about this one. Angle A and angle D. Nope, that would give me a side-side angle, so that does not work. B and E, okay, that one's between it. So that one also works, that's side angle side. Angle C and angle F, that doesn't work, so again, they give me side-side angle. Okay, we want to solve for this triangle right here using our tricks. Remember, it's SOHCAHTOA. So I'm given, this is hypotenuse, this is opposite, go straight from the angle, this is adjacent. That's opposite for 40 degrees. If I use 50 degrees, it's going to change. Okay, so I'm given, if I want to go directly, I have the adjacent side and hypotenuse. So adjacent hypotenuse, I go cosine, and it's got to be adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 40 equals x over 60. That's why it was B. On number 9, you want to make sure that you actually answer the question. Okay, so this side equals this side. That tells me this angle is equal to this angle. That's the isosceles triangle theorem. So that tells me 2x plus 20 equals 4x minus 30. When I solve for x, I get x equals 25. But watch out, because that's one of the solutions. They didn't ask for what x was, they asked for angle A. Now I got to figure out what angle A is. Well, I'm going to plug 25 into these equations. I get 50 plus 20. That makes this angle here 70. This angle here is 70. That's 140. The missing angle is 40 degrees. Okay, on this next one, for triangle JET, we have a right triangle. I want a relationship between angle J and angle T. Well, I know the sum of the angles in a triangle equals 180. And I already have 90, so angle J and angle T have to add up to 90. That's called complementary. On our exponential growth problem, or decay, we have 2,500 customers. The number is decreasing by 12% each hour. So we start with 100%, minus 12% gives us 88%. So my multiplier is 0.88. I started with 2,500 times 0.88 raised to the fourth because I want to find it in 4 hours. Okay, 12 was our harder one. This one had the error. This should be OX, not CX. So now I'm going to try to fill in my information again. So I do know that these two angles right here are congruent because of vertical angles. So I have an angle. I need one more angle to be able to use angle. Well, I've got to make sure they are in different triangles. So angle B is congruent to angle T. That one worked. Angle P and angle T does not work because I need to have one to match in each triangle. This was telling me this triangle was isosceles. I would have no idea about this triangle at all. Now, this is where you have to be careful on these two guys. BT is to BX. They do match up. So if I look at BT, PT, and BX, so I did that with a squiggle because they're not congruent, but I'm looking at being similar. OP and OX, OP and OX. If I mark those, this is side, side, angle. See that? Side, side, angle. That does not work. So B cannot be there. For D, I've got BO. So I'm going to kind of mark this one with like an X, matching up to TO. Okay, those do correspond. And then OP and OX, OP and OX. Okay, now if I look at these guys, that's side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. We can use one of three things. Angle, angle, similarity. Side, 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 similarity. Or side, angle, side, similarity. Those are the three you're looking for. Again, on our triangle right here, I want to find the measure of angle ABC, which is the same as B. This one's pretty straightforward. Sum of the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So if I add up all my angles, I get 6x plus 30 equals 180. So I get 6x equals 150, x equals 25. But again, that's an answer, but that's not what they asked for. So watch out. Angle ABC, I plug in 25 right here, and I get 50 plus 17, that's 67. Same thing with this next one. Angle TRP. I need to first figure out what x is, and then I'm going to figure out what this angle is right here. So I'm going to have to combine this one and the 90 degrees. Well, since this one, I could go actually x plus 18 plus 3x plus 90 equals 180, or just realize these two add up to 90. So I got 4x plus 18 equals 90. Solving it, I end up with x equals 18. So if that's 18, I could plug in 18 right here. This is 54. This was 90. The angle is combining those. 90 plus 54 is 144. Factoring problem. You know, we're only going to have a couple factoring problems on our midterm because it's a relatively new topic, but we do have a couple and we want to see how well you guys are doing at this point. When you're looking at this one, I got 5x squared and negative 12. So I'm going to build my rectangle. We have a couple different techniques we can use. 5x squared. We have negative 12. If we multiply these two together, I get negative 60x squared. That tells me that these two have to multiply to give me negative 60, but add to give me 11. So what you can do, now one thing is important, if you look at the bottom sign, if a sign is a plus, then the two numbers I get are going to be both the same sign. If it's negative, they're opposite signs. So I'm going to have two numbers that add together to give me 11, but they're going to be opposite signs, so one's positive, one's negative. So it's almost like looking at the difference in. So looking at all my combinations, start with numbers that are closest together, like 6 times 10. Well, if I did 6 minus 10 or 10 minus 6, I'm going to get a difference of 4. So that's not 11. Try 5 and 12. Those differ by 7. If this was a plus, that could be like a 17. That'd be, if it was a plus, we'd have 16. Then, to check 4, just use your calculator. If you do 4 in here, I get 4 times 15. Well, 15 minus 4 is 11. That one works. So I could put a 15x in and a 4x. I want it to be a positive, so that this one's a negative. Now, when I go to solve it, I could factor out a 5 and an x. This becomes x. I have x, 5x times 3. Then I have x times negative 4. So I have 5x minus 4 and x plus 3. On 16, we have, now when you're looking at this thing, you want to match up things. We're working with similar figures, and I'm going to see how to solve this. When I'm looking at my x, x is between the double and this little line with a dash. So that matches with the 10. So I'm looking at things that match the x and the 10. Okay, now I want to see if it works out. So 10 is to x, that's what that first one was, as 12 is to 18. Well, I have a single and a dash, single and a dash. That one worked. Now you could also solve this by doing 180 is equal to 12x, and then see what the solution is so you can do comparisons. So if I actually solved it, I can actually see that x is going to be 15. Now, if I look at this one, well, the 10 is not matched up with the x, so I can get rid of b. This one's 10 over x, so if I go to 9 and 6, well, I started with 10 on this one over x, so I got to start with this side. And if I did 9, there's no 6 on this side. Crossed him off. If I cross multiply, I get 9x equals 60. It's not going to give me the same answer either. Next one. I started with x over 10. Okay, those ones matched up. So I got to start with the big one to the small one. X is to 10 as 9 is to 6. Okay, look at the angles and the way they're marked. Those ones matched. Now the last one, x does not match with 12. I can cross him off. Okay, last few. This one was one of our harder ones. So let's look at why each one of these things don't work. So on this one, it's a right triangle. 4 squared plus 5 squared, which is going to be 16 plus 25. That does not equal 36. So that one did not work. For this one, the sum of the two sides of any triangle has to be bigger than the third side. So if I do 8 plus 12, that equals 20. This triangle would collapse. So that's not possible. On C, only thing I got is my angles. Do the angles add up to 180? They do. So C is a possible one. For D, if you got two angles, always find that third. This is 18, 22. So those all work. My sides kind of seem to look like they work because 10 plus 12 is greater than 20. Let's take the two smaller ones, make sure they're bigger than the third. But there's one more reason you have to watch out for. The side that is smallest has to be across from the smallest angle. 18 is smaller than 22. That is not smaller. So the smallest side has to have the smallest angle opposite. That's why D failed. This one, 5 squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. E works. Okay, 18. Here's my angle. Again, hypotenuse. This is my opposite. And that's my adjacent. And SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so sine of theta is opposite, which is 8 over 17. That one worked. This one does not. Tangent of theta is opposite of adjacent, which would be 8 over 15. That's not correct. Cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. That's 15 over 17. That one works. Okay, for our expected value, you're going to take each one of these, find their area, looking at their area in terms of what fraction of the circle is. Well, I've got, this is a quarter, this is a quarter. 120 divided by 360, this equals 1/3. These two have to add up to 180, so that makes this 60 degrees. This represents 1/6. So if I did 16 times 1/4 plus 4 times 1/4 plus 6, this is 1/3. 6 times 1/3 plus 12 times 1/6. I've got 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2. That's 9. There's my expected value. Sum of x times p of x. Okay, then we have this last one. Track team, we have juniors and seniors, and we have boys and girls. There's 59 total, so I know this is going to be my total. We have 34 of the students are girls, so girls, that's going to be 34. 24 of the players are seniors. This is 24. So I know these guys have got to add up to 59. So that means we have 25 boys, because there's 59. And then 59 minus 25 right here would give me 35 juniors. Then it says right here, 15 of the juniors are boys. That's that cell right there. So that means this one's 10. 15 plus 20 gives me 35. 20 plus 14 gives me 34, or 10 plus 14 equals 24. Now I got my chart filled out. Once I have my chart filled out, I should be able to figure this out. I want to probably have a senior or a girl. So anything that works, seniors or the girl, we have 30, 44 out of 59.